Goodbye, nobody, and scratch that, reverse it. Hello, everybody, it is I, Mr. Jonny Wonka, and today I'm gonna be talking about Wonka again. But this time, I'm gonna be discussing the ending of the film and why I think it's a bittersweet ending. Or that's what I would have said if Wonka 2 hasn't been announced. Yep, that's correct. We're gonna be talking about Wonka 2. This video kind of had to be rewritten because of that announcement. Because of that, this video is gonna be split into two halves. First half, talking about why the ending of Wonka and like what I was gonna originally say about Wonka's ending, and then the second half being like predictions for like the second movie. So, without further ado, let us begin. The thing about Wonka, unlike the previous movies, is that it's not fully adapting the book. Wonka decides to create its own story, and I think it benefits from that. With Willie and Charlie, they try to be either faithful or they try to carve their own paths in a way, while using the original book as the basis for the movies. But with Wonka, it uses just one passage from the book, the idea of Wonka's first candy shop, saying that you can notice something's off. That being how the ending of the film, spoilers if you care, but at the end of the film, it shows us Wonka imagining his factory. I say imagining because a small detail is that on the castle, there's a sign that says Daydreamers Welcome, opposed to the beginning of the movie, where the shop Willie had his eyes on said no daydreaming. Heck, who knows, maybe at the end of the film they actually like built the factory at the same time. Now, with that, why do I think this movie had a bittersweet ending? Well, it's because of, when this movie is supposed to take place. The ending is when the factory is being built, and with Willie being happy. But as we all know from like the book and both movies, eventually his recipes are stolen, and he would have to like close the factory for like a giant period of time. Even though like Slugworth was stopped, in the book, and like the actual like the main story, Slugworth does win. Although you can argue that in this version, they're gonna be like stuck in the air for a while. But it's like, there was a whole segment earlier in the movie, and like what Willie says, that they'll probably come down. But they'll just be in the air for like a while. And one thing you might have forgotten about like Slugworth, Podnose, and like Picklegruber is that they're candy makers. They are businessmen for a reason. Remember what Slugworth literally says after Noodle hands the legible to the police.
We'll get the best lawyers, bribe the judge, rig the jury if we have to. We'll be fine.
So, even though the ending of Wonka is a happy one, sadly, his dreams are going to be crushed again. And with that, that's how I was originally going to have the video play out. But because of Wonka 2, let's talk about Wonka 2. Now, let's discuss the sequel. Well, because the movie was just announced a while ago, there's basically little to nothing. We know nothing. That's the whole thing. But could we put together like a hypothesis of what they could do? Like if we look back at like Wonka, like we can kind of get some clues of what they could do. And one thing, right out of the way, this film should not adapt the book. No Charlie, no nothing. We've seen it 2 times, and I love Wonka. Like, I actually am one of the people who actually love the film. And I know, and I think everyone should know, they shouldn't do this for Wonka 2. If they do it, all you're gonna get is like the whole complaints that Tim Burton one got, the whole complaints that it's not good as the original Mel Stewart one, and people already complaining about it when Wonka 1 was coming out, that they thought it was gonna be literally an adaptation of the book again. So, you're just gonna get complaints and complaints. Now, with that out of the way, let's discuss, using the first movie as a blueprint, what the second movie could easily be. And I say, Wonka 2 should be the early years of the factory, meaning everything right up till its closure. Already, they could do a lot with this premise. Show us some more of the rooms of the factory. Show us things we haven't seen before. Be creative, they can literally go all out. Heck, can we actually see the square candies that look round? Now for the story. Being that this is maybe can happen before the closure of the factory, we could have maybe a more emotional element. Because we can kind of see people working there, and again, people worked at the factory before it closed, so we can actually see what it was like working here. If it was really good, people had fun, people were actually amazed. Speaking of that, since Wonka took its own liberties with having Oompa Loompa and having the comparators actually be major antagonists to Wonka in the movie, they could do what they did and give us a new cast of characters to help Wonka. And hey, maybe what they did with the Tim Burton one, they could actually make maybe Grandpa Joe have a connection to the factory. That's always one thing I really like, is that they gave him a reason to why Charlie picked him, not only for being his favorite grandpa, but it actually gives Grandpa Joe a reason why he wants to go to the factory as well, because he used to work there. It's even his line of dialogue in the Tim Burton one.
I used to work for him, you know.
You did?
I did.
He did.
He did.
I love grapes.
I'd give anything in the world just to go in one more time and see what's become of that amazing factory.
That big emotional moment, as I said a little while ago, that big emotional moment could be, we could see the downside of how some of the people who work there were actually spies. This could be a great reason to see how this breaks Willie. Seeing the people he trusts betray him and giving his recipes to his competitors. There's a lot they could do. And with that being said, this is why I think Wonka 2 could have a bittersweet ending if they go with this kind of premise. Let's see if I get anything right, or am I immediately proven wrong like I was with the Ghostbusters stuff. And again, who knows? Just who knows? We're in the early stages of development, and yeah, I'll probably come out one or okay, that's probably 2 years. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Good day.